The following special presentation is brought to you by Sony and by the Industrial Group of Funds.
This is the new home of the Toronto Blue Jays. The Argonaut Football Club. The world's biggest television set. Hotel rooms with windows right on the action. And sculpture designed to match the massive scale. Hello, I'm Jay Delmont. Welcome to the Skydome. In just 5 months, it'll be play ball in Toronto's most talked about, most controversial, most celebrated public building. In this half hour, let me take you on a tour of a stadium like no other in the world. We'll begin at the top with a look at the extraordinary retractable roof. It is a revolutionary design, but in fact, it's an old idea. The world's first stadium with a retractable roof was built 2,000 years ago. The Roman Colosseum had a roof of canvas awnings that was cranked open and closed by slaves using winches. But the modern generation of stadiums, such as the Pontiac Silverdome, feature mylar fabric roofs that are supported by air pressure. Well, at least most of the time.
You can see right there what has happened here. They've had heavy winds outside, obviously, and it has really played havoc with the roof.
The roof at the Minneapolis Metrodome has collapsed twice. Fortunately, no one has been hurt. The Skydome's roof is a solid steel structure that was first sketched out on the proverbial napkin by an imaginative engineer named Michael Allen.
Let's just go through the motion of the roof closings.
His design is elegantly simple.
The first thing that happens is this panel, panel 1, this quarter dome we call it, starts its motion, moving around as you see here. It's sliding out from underneath these two upper panels, and followed by that panel 2, which you can see here, it starts its motion, and that's followed by panel 3, and then both panels then move together until the panels close like so. Now this entire motion will take place in about 20 minutes.
Translating Michael Allen's design from paper to steel is the job of a group of some of the most skilled workers in the country. Just before Christmas, they hoisted up the final piece of structural steel, bedecked with flags and banners to mark the occasion. This is intricate work performed at dizzying heights. You can put a 31-story apartment building in center field and still close the roof over top of it. Everything is fit together with only a few hitches. But the big question remains, will it work? John Morgan has been walking the high steel for 38 years. His experience says it will.
I think it'll work easy enough. I'm almost sure it will. They've moved the section back now different times, and it seems to move pretty easy. So I can't see why it won't close okay.
John and his co-workers are dedicated tradesmen. They are well paid, but as crane operator Harvey McIntyre points out, it's also a matter of pride.
Nice to have the money, don't get me wrong, but being such a difficult job and the type of job it is, and it's the only one in the world that we're going to finish this on time, and what's done this is probably more pride than anything, just the sake of doing it, you know.
The Skydome project has proven to be one of the safest job sites in the country. Paul Bocaccio is a rookie, but well aware of potential dangers.
You get up there and you walk around like you're walking on the ground sometimes. Yeah. Like some guys, they can go up there and just like running on the street. They can get up around where I might be a little bit slower than some other guys.
Paul's caution was justified. A few hours after this interview, Paul was accidentally clobbered with a 4-pound hammer. When we saw him again the next day, he had a broken nose, but he put it down to experience and was back on the job. No one is watching the gigantic project come together with more glee than architect Rod Robbie. For him, it represents the payoff of an incredible gamble. When the design competition was announced, he mortgaged his house and risked virtually everything in the hope of winning. In October 1985, he walked into the Metro Convention Center with his model, wrapped in a green garbage bag, and beat out some other very good and imaginative designs. Rod Robbie is without doubt one of the happiest people in Toronto.
You know, we've said it'll be done by the 3rd of June, and I think you must agree it probably is going to be. So, you know, I'm very happy. It's just like a moment in life, you know. And there's some of the last concrete to go on the building.
In the beginning, all RRSPs look alike. They save taxes and make money for retirement. But if you look closer, you'll see that some make more money than others consistently. Over the last 2 decades, the industrial group of funds from Mackenzie Financial has proven that to more than 600,000 Canadian investors. So to see your RRSP take off, talk to your investment fund dealer or stockbroker. The industrial group of funds RRSP, looking both ways to manage your money for growth and income.
The Sony Walkman has forever changed the way the world listens to music, civilized or otherwise. The Sony Walkman. The world hasn't been the same since.
Chuck Magwood is president of Skydome. You're in the midst of what is continuing to be an enormous project in Metro Toronto. We're somewhere. Where are we here?
Well, right now we're on the coldest place on Earth.
Yes.
And we happen to be right at the very middle of the stadium. This point would be second base for baseball, and it's also center field for football.
Sliding into second right here.
Sliding into, actually, this is second base here. It's sturdy. It'll be here forever, probably.
From here, where's home plate then?
Okay, if we're looking now to the south, which is down towards the lake, and the city of Toronto is up here to the north, on my left. Home plate is down here, about 90 feet. Pitcher's mound is right here in front of us. The outfield fence is around here to the north end of the stadium.
Can you in any way imagine, you're the second baseman. We're at second base now. You're the second baseman. What is it going to feel like? This place is finished. It's opening day. It's packed. What's it like from a ball player's perspective right here as you look around?
Well, if I was a second baseman, the first thing that would happen is my jaw would fall, because I'd say, I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this before. One thing would be probably the noise, that because this building is a perfect circle and so round, the sense of feeling like the fans are close to you, all around you, will be probably more intense than they certainly ever felt in an open ballpark. That would be one thing. And it would appear from where we're standing like there are a lot of people that are awfully close to watching what I'm doing. So an error in this case will not be hidden from anyone's view.
Okay, let's go see what else we got.
Let's check it out. Well, I got a room up here for you. You're going to love it. Here we go. Here's our own personal elevator. Take you very top. Come on in.
Okay, Charlie. So, oh, this is one of the rooms? This is what, a mock-up?
This is a mock-up of a hotel room. We're just playing right now, looking at the furniture design and the finishing detail to see whether we've got it just the way we want it. This is an expensive room. This is one of 70 rooms that looks into the stadium. So from here we can watch the action.
From my hotel room, I can watch the ball game.
That's right. You can really do it all right from here, so to speak.
What do we see?
Well, we're seeing home plate down here in second base, and then down below us, we've got the outfield with Jesse, I think I said. Actually, Jesse's over here, and Lloyd is here, and George is down here.
Any other place, anywhere, have this kind of facility?
I don't think so. Not that I know of. We have here not only the hotel rooms, but we have a hotel dining room. We have the Hard Rock Cafe. We have a 300-foot long bar. We have an 800-seat restaurant.
How long, Bart?
300 feet long. And all of those facilities have views out to the field, and they're designed in such a way to take advantage of looking at what's going on, as well as looking on the inside when nothing else is happening.
Check, this is going to be just below us here, the health club.
That's right. We're looking down at the excavation that's now coming up. You can see the first squash court right here. There'll be 5 squash courts in the health club. There's a large swimming pool, aerobics area, change areas, and so on, and it's connected by elevator up to the upper circle where we have an indoor running track, and down below onto the field for tennis courts.
Megwood's boosterism has just won him the Canadian Marketing Man of the Year award. His enthusiasm is shared by premiers, past and present. William Davis, who gave the final go for the project.
I have to be very honest, when we decided to go ahead with this, I didn't quite anticipate the magnitude, but having been here several times, I'm not surprised by it today.
David Peterson, who renewed the province's commitment.
It's unique. It's one of a kind. It's world's first. I mean, I think as more and more people see this thing, they develop enormous enthusiasm for it.
And also copied around the world.
Well, that's right. They're now looking at these things in Japan. The engineering is unique to Canada. The designs are unique to Canada, and somebody's looking at several of them in Japan. I mean, it's very exciting, and it'll be a real showpiece for the city.
When talking of politicians and the Dome, it is worth remembering a young North York councillor who first put forward the idea some 20 years ago. Paul Godfrey drove the deal through Metro Council as its chairman, and today he remains steadfast in his support.
We've worked since 1969 to build a covered stadium here in Toronto. We didn't realize at that time we were going to shoot for one with a retractable roof, but just walking in here and watching it build brick by brick, stage by stage, it's probably the most exciting thing that I've ever seen.
Another key player was businessman Trevor Eaton. In 1984, then Premier Bill Davis asked him to round up 10 corporate partners to put up $5 million each.
I looked for the best in every category, quite frankly. I looked for companies that were out there marketing and promoting, but that had a significant presence in Canada and in Toronto, and who had demonstrated through years that they had the imagination and the flair and the muscle, to see something, to see a vision or a concept, and to go with it, to help create that, and then to live with it and give it the kind of support and background that are needed. So, I mean, they were very simple. Some of the people I didn't know all that well, many I did. But in any event, I did get I think I got all 10 within a period of a couple of weeks, and I called the Premier to tell him that I had all 10.
Eventually, Eaton put together a consortium of 25 companies, plus 3 breweries, who kicked in a total of $140 million. In return, they got preferred rights to supply goods and services to the Skydome. For example, you won't find Pepsi for sale because Coke is a consortium member. The deal has generated loads of criticism and controversy, but for better or for worse, the deal is done, and Skydome is a reality, open for business in just 5 months.
What happened when Sony put this incredible color TV and one of our most advanced VCRs into this machine? They shrunk. Introducing Video Walkman from Sony, the portable TV and VCR that takes video out of your home and into your life.
In the beginning, all RRSPs look alike. They save taxes and make money for retirement. But if you look closer, you'll see that some make more money than others consistently. Over the last 2 decades, the industrial group of funds from Mackenzie Financial has proven that to more than 600,000 Canadian investors. So to see your RRSP take off, talk to your investment fund dealer or stockbroker. The industrial group of funds RRSP, looking both ways to manage your money for growth and income.
This is the home stadium of the Seibu Lions in Japan. Above the outfield is a full-color television screen called a Jumbotron. It can show the score, instant replays, or the Lions mascot. It's made up of clusters of red, blue, and green lights that can be stacked and arranged in almost any size and configuration. The Skydome has ordered one, the biggest in the world. It'll be 3 stories high and 3 times as wide, and it'll be linked to television production facilities right in the stadium. Through these facilities, all Blue Jay and Argo home games will be broadcast. For those of us who'll be at the game, there's one important question about food. Well, the first clue is this familiar symbol. At their test kitchen, McDonald's has been developing a special Skydome menu under the supervision of Vice President Glenn McKee.
The way it started off is I went to over 20 stadiums in North America. We sampled the products in the stadium. We watched how they cooked them. Then we came back and we looked in our own test kitchens, talked with our own engineers, looked at what we could take from the McDonald's system and adapt to stadium fare food. You're going to see 2 different types of hot dogs, the stadium fare hot dog and the 100% pure beef deluxe hot dog. In addition to that, we're going to have popcorn. We're going to have nachos. We developed a special ice cream bar that we're going to be serving in the Skydome.
But before you can get a hot dog, you've got to get to the stadium. Forget about bringing your car downtown because there is virtually no public parking on the site. Take the GO train, subway, or streetcar. When you do get to the stadium, you'll be greeted by some strange characters who will be found in these balconies on the north end of the stadium. They're the creation of artist Michael Snow. The work is called The Audience.
The sculptures are represented as looking at the people who are coming as an audience to any event at the stadium, but they're appraising them, and they're sort of making a number of gestures that have to do with approval or disapproval, or sort of considering the audience to be a winner or a loser. So the whole thing is absolutely 50-50, wins and losses and pros and cons. And those sort of reactions are, you know, they're aimed, most of them, not all, but at different places where you'll have a kind of one-to-one situation between the sculpture and yourself.
Just imagine, you're walking into the stadium for the first time. Where's your seat? And perhaps more importantly, what's the cost? Blue Jays ticket manager, George Holt.
Okay. The stadium top price seat is $15, which is shown in gold. That is all of the Esplanade level from foul pole to foul pole, and the Sky Club level toward the outfield, which are here and here. The reason that these are top price in addition to the field level is that they are an excellent seat. It may not look that good on a diagram, but when you go down there and actually stand there, you realize what a great seat, even seats in these areas here are. The white area shown on here is not detailed because it's the Sky Club. That's the one that the members paid $4,000 or $2,000 a seat up front to purchase. So there is no sale, and therefore they're not shown. The $12 seats are those in blue, which are on the Esplanade level in the outfield, and the Sky Deck in the infield. While these seats are in the outfield, they still offer an excellent view. The reason they're not the same price as the $15 ones is that you will not be able to see the Jumbotron, which will be up here from these seats. The red seats shown here and here are Sky Deck level. They're $9. They're a little lower price because, as you can tell, they're slightly further out. And then we get out to the $4 seats. They are reserved, even though they're $4, the same as our general admission now. The reason they are reserved rather than general admission is that you have a tendency not to use every seat if they're not reserved. It also offers the customer a great convenience of not having to come down at 9 o'clock in the morning and line up. Somebody really who is watching their dollars and is on a budget
can purchase $4 coupons through a supermarket chain with their groceries for $2 and exchange them for a $4 seat. So it would be possible for a family of 4 to see a game for as little as $8.
The Sony Walkman has forever changed the way the world listens to music, civilized or otherwise. The Sony Walkman, the world hasn't been the same since.
In the beginning, all RRSPs look alike. They save taxes and make money for retirement. But if you look closer, you'll see that some make more money than others consistently. Over the last 2 decades, the industrial group of funds from Mackenzie Financial has proven that to more than 600,000 Canadian investors. So to see your RRSP take off, talk to your investment fund dealer or stockbroker. The industrial group of funds RRSP, looking both ways to manage your money for growth and income.
What'll it be like to watch a game at the Skydome? Allison Gordon has written a book about the Toronto Blue Jays and once covered the team for the Toronto Star. She's been in just about every stadium in North America. And today, she has a fan's perspective.
Well, the funny thing happened. I have kind of a part of the romantic part of me in ballparks is that when I first walk into it and see a new ballpark for the first time, I come up that ramp, out of the darkness, boom, and there's the ballpark. It's a wonderful kind of excitement, a hit. And I got that coming out this ramp into this construction site. I mean, it sort of resonates ballpark to me already.
What about these seats? What about the leg room? People are going to be able to move up here. They're going to like it here.
I can say 2 things very positive about them. One, they're plastic. Anyone that sat on those metal seats at Exhibition Stadium on a cold day
will love
appreciate
these
that.
seats.
Yeah. Secondly, this row, and it looks to me like one of the longest row in the ballpark, is 20 seats wide. A 20-seat wide row is one of the smallest rows in Exhibition Stadium. It's not going to be easy to get in and out of these seats, for sure, because it's very skippy. But because you're so much higher than the seat in front of you, you don't feel quite so cramped in terms of sitting. I'm glad there's a bar here to hang on to, or else I'd be getting serious vertigo. I'm trying to imagine, see a worker out there who's out by where second base is going to be, and I'm thinking, well, if that was Nelson Liriano or whoever, that's not too bad. I can see him pretty well, and this is one of the cheapest seats in the house, so certainly the sight lines are good.
Allison, I want to ask you about all these other things that are going to be in this spectacular structure. People have been talking about a hotel and a restaurant and a fitness club and God knows what else. Does that add to, take away from the old feeling of the ball yard?
Well, all that kind of Toronto expletive deleted world-class city stuff, it gets in the way, I think. Look, I think probably you and I would both prefer a nice little open ballpark with grass just for baseball, somewhere with parking, etc. We're stuck with this. I think that given that they had to make it a multi-use facility, it's going to be a pretty spectacular one. And I like the attention that seems to be paid to the fans and what they're going to be able to see. I mean, all that stuff. I mean, I tell you what, the $1,000 a night room overlooking the ballpark is not one I'm never going to be staying in. And besides, I wouldn't like the view, I'm sure, right? That's all the bells and whistles and the world-class thrills that I think are irrelevant.
One of the things, of course, the most interesting feature, most talked about feature of this ballpark, the roof. But what happens now if, in fact, you want to change the design, you want to close the roof partially or open it partially during a ball game? What happens
I would
now?
suspect that there are many little elves working in the commissioner's office, or I guess the American League office right now, figuring out there'll be a whole new set of rules for this ballpark. I mean, when you talk about explaining the ground rules before a game, this is going to be ridiculous, right?
The roof rules.
The roof rules, right? Or if someone in the hotel room turns off his light. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? And of course, there's the worry that it's going to get stuck. Right? I mean, we won't even go into that, but I mean, gets stuck, I just hope it gets stuck open. Because I hate closed ballparks.
Blue Jay Vice President Paul Beeston has talked with the Elfs from the league office.
I think there'll be some rules that will be struck. Clearly, the roof will be in the umpire's hands as to when it opens and when it closes. I think 5 years from now, we'll still be making up new rules as we go along because there'll be new scenarios, new situations, and if we don't keep an open mind and we're not flexible, we're not going to be able to get the benefit of what that roof actually means. So I really don't have an answer right now as to what will happen with that roof in a particular situation.
And we'll give the final word on the roof to a man who hopes it is always open.
Kind of like playing outside, to be honest with you, but I think the retractable roof is a real asset because when the weather's like this, you can close it up, and when it's nice, you can open it up. So, I think it's really good to have it, but I think baseball is meant to be played outside.
Ralph Sazio is the general manager of the stadium's other major tenant, the Toronto Argonaut Football Club. He has seen attendance dwindle in recent years, and for the Argos, the Skydome is nothing but good news.
It's going to give us, not only the fans, but I think the football team and the Canadian Football League, a shot in the arm to be able to operate in a facility second to none.
I'm just concerned about the distance.
These people have plans for the grand opening on the 3rd of June.
All this lighting and lasers all have to be coordinated with the staging, with the performers.
They'll be in boxes on 4 spots.
Yes.
And we're going to shoot them up.
They're putting together a spectacular show with a cast of thousands to celebrate the occasion.
Rehearsal space. Rehearsal space. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
It will be the biggest show this country has seen since the opening ceremonies at the Calgary Olympics. And that is no coincidence, since producer Stan Jacobson also did the Calgary show. Most of his plans for the Skydome, however, are being kept a secret.
Well, we don't want to give away too much at this time, but we are planning to do the spectacular, 90-minute spectacular. The first hour and 10 minutes, the roof will be closed. And then we plan a huge finale, a wonderful finale, when the roof begins to open. Now, at that point, eventually, we will have about 7,000 people on that field. Volunteer performers and special guest stars as well, personalities and celebrities. In one particular number, there'll perhaps be 2,500, another number, 1,500. In one particular number, just one performer, but it's a very special concept. This is not a gala. Everybody performing on that field will be part of a concept. Every item in that show will be a show in itself. And hopefully all these items, all these concepts, all these items, when put together, will be one huge spectacular.
Architect Rod Robbie says this will be a secular cathedral, a meeting place for Torontonians for 100 years and more. The first crucial date in that long relationship will come the first week of June, when the pounding of the jackhammer is replaced by the crack of the bat. I'm Jay Del Ma. See you at the ballpark.